Good morning, and welcome to Grooves and Motivation, or good evening, wherever you are in the world watching this. Welcome to Grooves and Motivation Live with Jermaine Morgan. This is actually our last one for the year of 2022. So, just in case you're watching this in the replay, just keep that in mind. So, we're going to jump right into this thing. One of the things I want to talk about today, of course, we're going to groove as usual, but one of the things I want to talk about today is stop comparing yourself to others, especially going into this new year. That's definitely something you don't want to be caught doing. So we're going to dig into this a little bit today, so stay tuned. All right, guys, good morning to you for wherever you are in the world watching this morning. Be sure to let me know in the comments. As always, I love seeing that. I love to see who's watching this. And hopefully you guys had a Merry Christmas, having some happy holidays out there. I hope you're enjoying yourself. I have been enjoying my family these days off. I had a really cool time jamming with my kids. They finally got to the point where we can play together now, so that was pretty dope. Joining in with my kids, my daughter, my 10-year-old daughter, well, 11. She just turned 11. Wow. So my 11-year-old daughter was playing the keys, and my 8-year-old son was playing the drums, and we had a lot of fun jamming out. I took my bass rig up to my son's room, and he had his drums in there. And my daughter brought her keyboard over, and the family, we sang and we did all kind of stuff. So we had a lot of fun, just enjoying the holidays. So good morning to you, Kikel, if I'm saying that right. Good morning to you, Canny Lester. Good morning. So yeah, let's jump into this groove. And this is also a song from the Dreams Work Reality record in terms of the loop section that I'm taking from the song. And we're going to rock out to this for a little while. Joel, I see you. Good morning. Wellington, good morning to you. Perry, Georgia is in the building. Houston, Texas is in the building. I think that's okay. All right, I got you. So as y'all drop in the comments, I'll call out your city as I see it. All right? I'll try to. I'm going to say that. All right, let's jump into this groove. Montreal, Canada. P. Santa Boogie. Good morning to you. This is a groove I put to my now 5-year-old Ellie, my youngest daughter. She did a groove. And y'all know that theme. If you followed any of my music, I like to include my children in some of my stuff. And this was Ellie's take. I had everybody recorded, but I didn't have anything recorded of my youngest. So we did this song. Let me see if I can pull up her vocal. This is a little cute vibe. Well, she was 3 when we did this. Right. So that was Ellie singing. So yeah, that song was just a little filler we added on the record, and it just felt right. It just felt right to add it. So I see some more people joining in. Florida is in the building. Namibia. Namibia. Y'all be getting me on this spelling. Namibia. Okay, here we go. All right. So Oviedo, Florida. All right. Hello, Jermaine. Nice to meet you again. Now I'm in Germany. Greetings. And you just be moving everywhere. Greetings from there. I just grabbed my bass. I wanted to practice a little bit, but I saw you was online. There you go. Come on here. Jump on with us. All right. Add some chords and melody in there. Yeah, I harmonized my little girl singing. Let's play with this a little bit. Stephen, good morning to you, man. Great to see you as well. Well, great to know that you're here. I can't see you, but good to know that you're here. Happy New Year to everybody, man, that's joining in with me this morning. Scribe says, can you play chords on it? Yeah, of course. I got to learn the chords. Freelon, what's up, man? So Scribe trying to get a quick bass lesson this morning. He says, can you give me the names of those chords you're playing? I try to play it, but I don't manage to get the third and fourth chord of that song. Please help. So with this particular groove, it's a very simple, repetitive groove. You got to first understand it's just moving very simply. So we moving. So we're going from the flat 7 chord. I'm playing. I'm just like using that a major 7. right? So I'm in the key of F sharp major. So I'm just going at flat 7 to the 6, which is minor. I'm playing the minor 5 to major 4. All right, so major 7, minor, minor to major. So those little substitutions I'm doing, minor, and then I go that dominant, like that 2 of F sharp, A flats, or what we think of as G flat. So that 2, A flat, dominant 7 to the minor. So it's like a little quick passing chord. And then we can go dominant 7, do the same thing to that major 7, that 4. Right? Let's see if I can loop that. I can already tell I don't like the timing of that, but I'll deal with it. See, I don't like the timing. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. So you gotta, again, you got major 7. Right? So the flat 7. So you in the key of F sharp, or you want to think of it as G flat. It's totally up to you. Theory heads, don't come for me. So, all right, so we got the flat 7, but I'm playing it as a major 7 chord. And then we're going down to the 6th chord, which is that E flat minor. And then we're playing that C sharp or D flat minor. And then I'm going to the B major 7. Wake up, fingers. All right. And then when I do that little passing chord, like I'm doing a major 7, minor, the E flat minor, to the A flat dominant 7, that passing chord, and it happens really quick. A flat dominant 7 to that D flat minor to the B major 7. So it's different. All right. So that's what I'm doing. It's a simple pass. You know what would do you even better to go and buy that song? Hey man, hey here, go buy that song off iTunes, stream it anywhere. You know that Ellie song. The name of the song is Ellie's Song, ELLIE apostrophe S song. That's my daughter, Ellie's Song, and it's on the Dreams Work Reality album. That's the whole song. Is this a super short song, but you at least you can hear it over and over again. So I'm not gonna turn this into a bass lesson, but yeah, I gave you the chords, so you had to go back and rewatch it and rewind and get these chords again. All right, so good morning, everybody that's on here this morning. Ela, if I'm saying that correctly, thank you. I really appreciate that. Peace Sound Boogie says strings always sounding so fresh. How often do you change them? It really depends on how much I'm playing the bass. In terms of changing these strings. If I'm playing this bass pretty regularly, I'm maybe changing every. I'm gonna be honest. I probably change probably every 2 months or so. If I'm playing the bass a lot. Now, if I'm playing a lot in the strings, it depends. For me, it really depends on what they sound like. If I can tell they're dying, I might change them, a little sooner. But I try to milk my strings. I'm gonna get every ounce of life I can get out of them before they go, like before they die. But I done got a little better about changing my strings, but I try to get every ounce of life out of them. I'm not one of those guys that's changing strings every time I play. I ain't got that kind of budget. Even though I have a nice situation with SIT strings, I try not to take. And when I say take advantage, I try not to negatively take advantage of that situation, because I don't want to be extra, Like if it sounds good, it sounds good. And to me, there's that fine line for me. I like them when they're really crisp, when they're brand new, and then I like them when they're kind of played in, warm in a little bit, and they just got that little thing where they're sitting just right for me personally. And like I don't like too much brightness unless, if it's something that I'm really going to be doing a lot of thumping and slapping, and I want to hear that cut through a lot. But for a lot of the stuff that I'm playing, a lot of times I will be cutting out my high end if it's too crispy, because there's a nice roundness that I like to my personal tone. Of course, when you go here, you could tell when I go to the more thump tone that there's a little bit. They're not as bright as they are when I first put them on here. They still got a little bite to them. And of course, if you got a nice sounding bass rig or something, you can kind of tweak it and get a little bit more brightness and push the envelope a little bit more on your strings. A little Pro Tool there. You know what I'm saying? You can use your rig sometimes and push it. Or if you have a preamp situation that you're using, you kind of bump that treble up a little bit just in case your strings are not as crispy as they should be. You can bump that treble up a little bit and get a little bit more bite out of those strings. But typically, I like kind of running them strings pretty good, just so when I go to certain things, I don't want it to be, for lack of better words, I don't want it to be abrasive when I start playing like real melodious. I'm gonna use that word today. When I start playing stuff. There's a certain tone that I'm going for, and I don't like too much highs in that time. There's certain things I'm going for when I'm doing that kind of stuff, and I don't want it too bright. Now, with some people, I love the way that they sound when they playing certain things and they got them brand new strings. But for my own type of playing, the way that I play, I've become more accustomed to more of a rounded type sound, and I enjoy that a little bit more personally. So hopefully, I know that long answer, hopefully that gets to the point for you guys. But anyway, let's jump into this chat really quick, because I was on here for an hour and 30 minutes last week, and I be killing my watch time, I know, in the replay. But y'all be hanging out with me, so that's why I be doing it. That's why I do it. So, all right, I missed some other comments here. So, Man, that bass sounds so good. Looking at Serene or Ward for my next custom bass. I got you. Bartolzi. Hey Jermaine, Warsaw says hello, man. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Thank you for stopping by and checking me out this morning. Scarabi, yeah, I got the groove. I'm using a 5 string. Sweet, yeah, you could do this on a 5 string. This groove that I was playing, the chords and all that stuff, you could do that easily on a 5 string. Yeah. So jumping right into this, this was something that was on my mind, especially as we round this year off. Like this is the last live I will do that I know of for this year. So I wanted to make sure that we kind of ended on a really good note and give you guys something to think about going into the new year. And one of the biggest thoughts that came to my mind as I'm preparing for this thing and like what can I share? And it's like, stop comparing yourself to others. I'm like, well, I know that's, in the social media age, that is a huge one. So just a few points that I want to kind of get you guys thinking about before I jump off of here today. Stop comparing yourself. And that, in a nutshell, I could say that and then just close down shop and say, all right, y'all, I'll see y'all next year. Stop comparing yourself to others. I've talked about this several times since I've been here. Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. I've talked about this so many times on this live. And if you guys have heard me speak somewhere live, you've probably heard me mention this more than once. Now, that term is not original to me, but I have in fact talked about it. And so I wanted to share it with you guys in terms of stop comparing yourself to others, because that puts you right in line for that whole imposter syndrome thing, where you're feel like you're being a fake, you're feeling like you're being a fraud, you're feeling like you're being a phony. And honestly, to some degree, you kind of are. When you are, making yourself try to be like somebody else or trying to copy the mold that somebody else has set forth, you're going to run into that imposter syndrome. Now, not to say that the whole imposter syndrome idea does not come about when you're doing your own thing completely original to you, because it can still, you could still not feel worthy. Ultimately, that's a personal assessment type deal, like where you feel like, the thing that I'm trying to teach people or the thing I'm trying to be, what if people find out? Like, just in case I'm talking over somebody's head and they don't necessarily know, well, what do you mean by imposter syndrome? It's this whole idea that, what if people find out that I'm not actually the guy that they think I am, or the girl, the lady, the man, what I'm saying? What if they find out that I'm not actually as good as people really think? What if they find out? That's the whole idea, the premise behind this whole imposter syndrome thing. And so because a lot of us feel that, we start trying to, and another thing that comes with that is the rejection part, the rejection piece of it. Well, what if people don't accept the thing that I'm putting out? Maybe I need to make my idea look a little bit more like, you fill in the blank, the person that's a little bit more popular in this area. Because what if people reject my thing? What if they reject my idea? What if they don't like what I have to say? What if they don't like my music? What if they don't like what I've created? All these what if scenarios, you'll bury yourself in what ifs if you got enough of them. So I encourage you guys to just, the biggest thing I could say in terms of, and this cold weather is killing my battery right now. The biggest thing I could say in terms of this whole imposter syndrome and dealing with the whole what if scenario, you first and foremost, you got to get over it. Get over yourself, and what you think people think about you is completely irrelevant, because you'll worry yourself in the grave about what somebody thinks about you. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about this very thing. You will worry yourself in the grave worrying about what somebody thinks about you, and the very person you're concerning yourself with won't even bother to show up to your funeral. I'm going to let that marinate for a second. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. You will worry yourself to death concerning yourself with what other people think about you, and those very same people that you're concerning yourself with, they won't even bother to show up to your funeral. So that should in itself just give you something to go on. Like, man, maybe I don't need to be as concerned about what other people think. when it comes to my ideas. Let's be real about what we're really talking about. When it comes to your own individuality, your own creativity, your own fingerprint that God has given you to impact this world with, what He's given you might not look like anything you've seen. That's why they call them trailblazers. When you think about a trail, I was born, I was born and raised in Mississippi in the country. And oftentimes, we would have fields and all this kind of stuff. Like I grew up on land. My grandma and my uncles and stuff. They were farmers and that type of stuff. And oftentimes, I would go with my uncle to bush hog, and he had a tractor. So if any of y'all country boys, you know what I'm talking about. And a lot of times when he would go bush hog these different areas, maybe it was a pasture or something like that. When he would go bush hog, the grass would be like up to your waist high. And, oftentimes walking through that grass, you couldn't see anything. You couldn't see anything, but the grass would be so high. So you would be looking way out at this grass, and especially if they got 40, 50 acres of land. And you're looking at this grass and there's nothing but grass for a long way. But here's the thing. If like, just say me, my brother, or me and my cousins or somebody were playing out there, well, my uncle was bush hogging, he's way on the other side of the pasture. And then we're on this side of the pasture over here playing and doing things. Well, the cool thing about it is when you're dealing with this tall grass, it looks like wheat or something like that. You're dealing with this real tall grass. A lot of people use this grass to make hay and those types of things, or it could just be just tall grass and weeds. Anyway, you're looking at this big tall grass. The taller it gets, the more it lays down when you put pressure against the grass. So when it talks about trailblazing, like either me or my cousin or somebody that's out there playing, just say they're taking the lead, right? Well, if you're in the lead, there's nothing there. But if the other person is leading, you can follow their trail. So oftentimes they would walk through the grass, and as they walk through the grass, they would lay the grass down. Or even when my uncle would be driving the tractor going to a certain place in order to bush hog, when he drove the tractor down through there, it would lay the grass down and it would blaze what we call a trail. It would blaze a trail. So you would know exactly where he went and how to get there based on where he walked in front of you. Or like if it were me, the person coming behind me would know exactly what to do and exactly where to go based on where I go, because I laid the grass down. I made the trail. They knew exactly how to follow. So if I'm being a trailblazer, now the question is, who's following me? And with being a good trailblazer, I want to make sure that people can actually follow the trail. So I've seen in old videos and those types of things where guys were doing that in other countries, and they will have this some type of tool mechanism type deal where they would be walking, and this thing would like probably be this wide, and it would lay down the grass. I know they was doing it for different reasons, but nonetheless, it was still a trail. So they would be laying it down, or you'll see other guys would be in movies and stuff, and they would have this little, I forgot what it's called, like a Kaiser blade or something like that. But anyway, they would be going through and whacking, making a way through the trail. And the whole idea is you want somebody else to be able to find the way to go. And you're also moving obstacles out of the way when you're trailblazing. So you're moving stuff out of the way for other people. See, here's where it comes in, the whole music and money idea that I've been talking about. And I'm going to be doing more live trainings on these types of things. You'll know more about it soon. But with this idea, when you understand who you are, what you do, and your unique fingerprint, now you make a pathway so other people can figure out how to follow it. And if you're thinking from the business term, Jermaine, how does this relate to business, music, and money, right? Well, when you learn how to lay that trail and you could show people the way to get there, well, you can monetize that. Because what do you think would be easier for folks? If there's a big house, let's go back to my scenario with being out in one of my uncle's pastures, right? So there's all this grass out here, and there's a big house that we're all trying to get to, but the grass is so high, we can't see the house, right? But we're all trying to get to the house. Now, which one would be easier? For everybody to just strike out, make their own trail, and each person just find their way to the house? And they, some folks get there in 5 minutes. Some people get there in 20 minutes. Other people get there in like an hour because they get lost. Now, which one will be easier? To do that, or for one person that knows where the house is and knows exactly how to get through it to lead the way and make the trail and tell everybody else to come on, because they've already got rid of all the obstacles. They laid all the grass down and you can see straight to the house. Then most people will be willing to pay for the easy route, right? Yeah, it might cost you a little something, but as an entrepreneur, that's what we do. We blaze trails. I know I took y'all way down the road, but as entrepreneurs, that's what we do as creatives, as creative people, as people who have ideas. That's what we do. So your own individuality, your own thumbprint, your own idea, the thing that you have that's unique to you, it might not be nobody else out there doing it, but once you blaze the trail, you're able to monetize it. Now, here's how you get over here. This is exactly how you do it. Now you can go your route by all means. Go ahead. But I can save you 2 hours if you come this way. And not only that, I can tell you where the obstacles are in the trail. See, what you don't know when you're walking this trail, there's a little pothole over here to your left. After you get probably about 400 yards in, this little thing over here, you're going to have to dodge it. And it's hard to see. But because I've blazed the trail all the way, you can see it clearly. I've even marked it out. I put a sign there. Hey, don't step on this, right? I've even shown you where not to walk to. So you begin to save others a lot of time, which they will continue to pay you for. Because if you can save me time and still get me the same result, I'm more than willing. I'm more than happy to give you whatever it is you're asking me for, making my life a whole lot easier. See, one of the things I learned being a younger sibling, it's just me and my older brother. But one of the things I learned from watching my older brother, you get the privilege of watching people's wins and watching their failures. Now, they might be perceived failures, but ultimately it all leads to a win because it's part of their journey. But you being the second person coming, you kind of get to see some things you can do or some things you can avoid. And so it's much more valuable to me to learn from your own experiences than me to have to repeat those experiences and learn my own lessons. Now, there are some things I'm going to have to do on my own and learn my own lessons and put some knots on my own head to learn, but I don't have to do that in every scenario. And so the thing I'm trying to get across to you guys, when you compare your life journey or your idea or your gifting or your playing ability to somebody else's, it's not a fair assessment. Because you don't really know what it took for this person to become them. And likewise, they don't know what it took for you to become you. And here's another, we were talking about something. I was telling my wife, I don't know if she's watching today, but I was telling her, babe, I realized I tell a lot of stories. I'm like an old dude that has a lot of stories now. Oh, well, it is what it is. I appreciate y'all for coming along for the ride. But one of the things that I've been able to see and just kind of doing and then I lost it that quick. That's why I don't sidetrack. But one of the things I've been able to see from just all of these different things that I've been trying, trial and error, I've been able to kind of just learn how to navigate around different things. I lost my train of thought. Y'all bear with me. Y'all pray. Saints, pray. I lost my train of thought that quick. Doggone it. I tell you, that 40 comes in on you real hard, like a thief in the night, stealing ideas. So let's go back to the whole thing with the comparing yourself, and I'll get myself back to it. It'll come back to me in a second. But the whole comparing yourself to other people, I was saying, you don't know what it took for that person to become them, and they don't know what it took to. I know what I was gonna say. Told you. It's relative. It's relative. I heard someone say something about the fact of your scenario, your situation is relative. So like for a person, I think it was Tim Ross. He was talking about for a person who's saying they're struggling, and I'm not going to quote him verbatim, but the idea, I love the idea that he was talking about. Your struggle is relative to you. For a person who's on the street, and especially in this weather, how it's been in the South, and you like been down to 9 degrees, and for some people 0 degrees, it's cold for us. Now, that cold is relative to the temperatures that we've been exposed to. Now, for a person that lives in Alaska or a colder part of the country, it's like, or a colder part of the world, rather, it's like, what are y'all talking about? This ain't cold. Y'all don't know cold. You know, they would make jokes about people who lived in Georgia getting 2 inches of snow and having car accidents and all this types of stuff. But it's funny for a person who doesn't live here to make those types of jokes, because they don't understand, like, why would y'all be struggling and slipping and sliding and doing all this kind of stuff? Well, it's relative to the environments that they're used to being around. right? All of it's relative. It's all subject to what you've been accustomed to. So what's a struggle for us might not necessarily be a struggle for you. So with that being said, I got students that I coach, and as a base coach, I have students that I coach, and all of them are at different levels. But I've learned how to appreciate the work and the energy and the effort that each one of these individual students put in. Now, this person over here might be way ahead of the game, way ahead of the curve in terms of their playing. And, they started, however, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And then you got this person over here who's been playing way longer, and they're having way more struggles. But me looking at where they had to come from. And some of these people were dealing with like issues of even just knowing, like record, like for lack of better words, being tone deaf to pitch. And now they went from being tone deaf to being able to recognize pitch. Some of these people had really bad timing issues. Now they're able to like play in time. They might not be as advanced as this person over here, but again, their struggle is relative to what they were exposed to and what they dealt with personally. So looking at where they are now and being able to advance, now they can play on pitch the whole time. When they do a riff, it's in the right key, right? These real life stories here. And having timing issues to where when you go out and try something, or you're playing a groove, it actually feels like a groove and don't just feel like you're playing random notes. All those different things are relative to where the person is coming from and what they had to come from. So when you're starting to compare yourself to others, you don't know the reference point. That's the point I'm making. You don't know the reference point that these other people are coming from. And I see you guys in the comments, but as you saw a while ago, when I try to stop that brain, it'd be so keep coming. I see you over there. And good morning to everybody. But you don't know the reference point. You don't know the reference point where everyone is coming from. You don't know the reference point, and they don't know your reference point. So the biggest thing that I found in my own life that's, one of the best things I can do is stay busy doing what it is I'm supposed to do. Stay active. Stay active. I had a small win this morning. And there are only a few people who can appreciate it. I won't go into detail of what that was, but it was a testament to me. And I talked to a good friend of mine about a year ago, and I told him the same thing when I got this revelation about a year ago. I said, man, God doesn't waste anything. And this is for somebody. I don't know who this is for, but let me encourage you. God doesn't waste anything. Any of your ideas, none of that stuff is wasted. It's not wasted. Here's what I mean. So I made this thing. I created something probably about, it was a product that I created probably about 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago. Yeah, literally, about 4 years ago. I created this thing, and it did very little. I worked really, really hard on it, and I put my energy into it. I didn't go for it, like just half doing it, I put energy into it. I did the work, and it just didn't do anything. This particular product that I did, and I've had several products. This is one of many. I put the work, I put the time, I put the energy, I put the effort into it, and it just didn't do anything in that season. So honestly, this thing has kind of laid dormant. Now, recently I've gotten this other idea, and I found, and I told my wife, I said, I think some of the stuff that I've done from this other product over here, I think I might be able to incorporate a little bit of it, maybe pull some stuff here and there into this new thing that I'm trying to do. So it turns out, as I'm working this morning on kind of building this thing out, that a lot of the stuff that I did 3 to 4 years ago ended up being the very framework that I thought I was going to have to rebuild for this new product. It ended up being the entire framework. And so the stuff that I did, it's like, you ain't got to redo any of that over again. Matter of fact, this is going to give you everything you need to really build this thing out the way you really want to build it out, because you was trying to figure it out. And now you have the exact framework because you done the work years ago. So you didn't waste your time doing the work years ago. It just wasn't the time for it. And that's something for me that's key. So what I'm saying with that, how it applies to you, how it applies to the subject, stop comparing yourself to others. Just because what you did years ago didn't work, don't mean you was off. It just might not have been the time for it. So go back. I dare you to go back in your phone, go back in your planning, go and look at some of the stuff that you came up with that didn't jump off like you thought it was going to jump off, and you looked at it as a fail. It might not have been time for it. And as a matter of fact, now, even looking at my current situation, some things that I'm working on now, I'm able to pull this thing into something that I'm building. And now I have that framework, and it's going to make this current thing I'm building a whole lot better. It's going to make it a whole lot better. And it's like, I don't have to double up on the work because I put a lot of energy and effort in the first time. When you do it right the first time, you might have to make some tweaks. You might have to make some edits, but that work is not going to go like unnoticed. The only way it does that if you let it die. I'm starting to figure that out little by little. The only way this thing goes unnoticed, it goes unseen, all these different things, if you let it die. But if you can get enough hope again about this idea, if you can get enough belief in what you're doing as being valuable, it's going to work. You might have had a good few months run with this thing, and it was like, it was cool, but it just didn't, it wasn't a thing. No, it wasn't a time. And maybe you need to reconfigure something. Maybe you had some people involved in it who were going to make it go down in flames, and God was like, we're going to go ahead and shut all this down because you got the wrong people involved. So check your circle. That's another thing. Check your circle. And beware. These are some points I'm leaving with you guys. I said I was going to give you some points. Check your circle. And if Steven here, Steven normally be putting my points there, right? So revisit the idea, number one. Number two, see if that idea can be reused, right? So revisit the idea, number one. Number two, see if that idea can be reused, right? And number three, check your circle. And so if y'all miss any of these, y'all just gonna have to go back in the replay and get it. I don't have these in my notes today. Number three, check your circle, right? Check your circle. Check the people around you. Number four, be aware of what you're listening to, your ear gate. There's a verse, I can't remember exactly where it is, but it talks about the heart being wickedly deceitful. There's a verse in the Bible that speaks about your heart being wickedly deceitful. Above all things, guard your heart. Like, there flows the issues of life and all this. But your heart, there's something about your heart. When it's speaking of your heart, it's talking about your mind. Your own thoughts, if you're not careful about what you think about and what you let into your ear gate and your eye gate, these things can affect your decision making. These things can affect what you say. You don't necessarily say what you're seeing. It's like you got to see what you're saying. I know that's like a what? No, because your thing, all the evidence around you can be pointing to everything you're trying to do. All the things you've tried to do didn't work. That's what you see. Don't say, oh man, I tried that, it didn't work. No, don't say that. Like, no, I had this idea and I tried it, but I got to go back and do some refining because I know it's a good idea. I got to go back and maybe look at another way of, seeing what I could do to tweak this thing because I know this is a good idea. I know it's going to hit. And maybe you have to keep going back, tweak it, go back, tweak it, go back, tweak it, go back, tweak it, because I know this is going to hit. When you know something is a good idea and you know for a fact it's a good idea, don't let off the gas. Man, if I can encourage y'all for anything, don't let off the gas. When you know it's a good idea, don't let off the gas. I posted a short the other day on my social media. If y'all not following me on IG, I hardly ever say this because I forget. But if you're not following me on IG, it's at JMorganBase on Instagram and Facebook, Jermaine Morgan. You'll find me on there. But I posted something. I posted it in YouTube Shorts, and I also posted it as an IG Reel. But one of the things I was talking about, most of your ideas are going to seem stupid to your peers. Most of your good ideas, let me rephrase that. Most of your really good ideas are going to seem stupid to your peers and people who are around you. I said this the other day. Now, I talked about this in a live training that I did, but most of your good ideas are going to seem stupid to the people around you. Your good ideas are going to seem stupid. Let that marinate for a second. And even when I talked about your heart being wickedly deceitful, you will Appreciate that. I see y'all in the chat. Check your circle. Yes, sir. So sometimes you will agree with your surroundings. You will start saying what you see. You will start saying what you hear. Remember, I told you to check what you're hearing, check what you're listening to, all these different things, because you will agree with the negative feedback that you're getting surrounding something. And that feedback that you're getting might not necessarily be the truth, but because it seems so real, you will agree with it. So you got to make sure you monitor what's coming into your ear gate. If you know it's a good idea, then you better cut everybody else off and figure out how it's a good idea. Figure out how it's a good idea. And that might require you to cut off social media. That might require you to, some people that you answer the phone to, or you kind of, go back and forth texting or have y'all group chats with, you might have to shut that stuff down. There's some chats that I see when I'm like in the middle of like really trying to work on something, or I have something in my head and I'm trying to really work on my mindset. There are certain group chats I don't even respond to. And I don't mean no harm. I love them with the love of the Lord. And these are cool people. But sometimes there are conversations that are going forth and I don't have time. I don't mean no harm by it, but I don't have the time to engage in it because it's going to throw me off. It's going to get me thinking about something that's not going to move me forward. It's going to be something that I'm going to get all into this, and it might be funny. It might just be, easy fun. We just laughing. We having a good time, light fun, right? But I don't have time for that, because if I start thinking about this, something is going to come up. Oh, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole. I know me. I'll go down a rabbit hole looking at this. It's going to trigger another thought. I'm going to look at something else, and it's going to trigger another thought. And before you know it, I done spent 30, 45 minutes laughing, not getting nowhere, right? I done spent 35 minutes laughing and not getting anything done, just listening to folk or just responding to stuff that didn't move the needle for me. Because meanwhile, half of the folks that's in the chat, they straight. They're good. They got their security with their job. At least they think. They got their security with your job. Hey, you over here trying to build something and you can't get anything done because you're too busy laughing all day. Don't you know social media is designed to make sure you stay distracted enough so you don't get anything done, but you make them rich? Because the longer they can get you to stay on the platform, the more money they can make. And they be getting me. I promise they be getting me, because I have to make myself like, yo, I said it more than one time here on this live. I'd be like, Jay, bruh, put your phone down, man. Come on, let's go. Like, I fuss at myself. Y'all would be around here laughing at me if you were to just be a fly on the wall sometime. Like, bro, come on, man. You got to focus. Focus, right? Because this stuff is designed to steal your attention, and you won't get anything done. You won't get anything done. And don't worry about if the thing, like I said, some of your stuff, some of your really great ideas might happen out of time. But that ain't none of your business. Your thing is to get it done. Get it done. Somebody write that in the chat. Get it done. And I see y'all still in the chat. But get it done. Get it done. I'm going to say it over and over again. Get it done. There's some ideas you've been sitting on, and we got like, 3-4 days left before the year's out. Man, get it done. I'll be running like a chicken with his head cut off right now, trying to, like, granted, if you done goofed off all year and you know what you got to do is like 3-4 months worth of work, you're not going to get that done. But at least you can get on it. At least you can make a plan. At least you can, and I would say, when I say get on it, I'm not saying make a plan and then January the 1st, I'm going to get started on it, because we know January the 1st, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it January the 1st. So you have to make sure that you are doing it now. Like, if you can't do the whole thing, make sure you're doing something. There's an old saying, a little bit of something beat a whole bunch of nothing. So do something. Do something. If you can't do the whole thing, get something done. Make a plan. Get up a little bit early. If you're off work and it's something that you've been working on and you're trying to get out of that job, you got to get at it. You have to get, you have no time to waste. Here's the thing. That I know we've been laughing and talking, but let me bring this home for some of y'all. Let me bring this home. Some of y'all are dealing with some health issues, and some other things, and you got something that you want to do. Some of y'all got kids, and you're trying to leave something for your kids, and especially musicians, you ain't in a good place, and yet you still laughing, you still having a good time, and you're not producing. Not don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with having a good time. There's nothing wrong with it, but you don't have anything. So with your health issues, God forbid, you could very well clean up out of here. And what do your kids got? That gig you doing that's paying pretty good. Your kids can't eat off of that, because guess what? You ain't in the ground cold yet. They done already replace you. Hey, this bass player such and such passed away. We need another bass player for Sunday. I bet. I'm telling you what it is. I am telling you what it is. You have a you know what I'm saying? You got your gig, you thinking, man, I'm straight, bro. As long as I can do that. And I hate when I hear people say stuff like that. As long as I can do this, I'm straight. As long as I can work on that, I'm straight. All these different things. I'm straight if I can do this. I'm straight. Like, you don't know that. You don't know what could happen tomorrow. Right? Is there any retirement plan in that? You know what I'm saying? Like, are they going to secure your future? And so that's why I talked about last week. If you guys was here on last week, check out that video that I talked about. Don't kill yourself gigging. I think that was last week. Might not have been last week, but don't kill yourself gigging. It wasn't wait, I don't know. Go back and look at the Grooves of Motivation playlist, and you'll see it. Don't kill yourself gigging. And what I was talking about with that, don't run yourself in the ground trying to do all this other stuff for other people, and then when it's all said and done, you got nothing. You have absolutely nothing left. And half of the people you run yourself down for, they're not going to show up to your funeral. I hate to be the one to tell you, but a lot of these people that you're running yourself in the ground for and not getting stuff done, they're not showing up to your funeral. Not that should matter to you anyway. The point, I'm being extreme when I say not showing up to your funeral, but the point I'm making is after you're dead, they have moved on to the next one and the next thing. And I don't care how many chats and group threads, I'm like, oh man, heartbroken emoji, man, I can't believe that. That was my guy, man. That was my dude. 2 weeks later, they ain't brought your name up in nobody's conversation. 2 weeks. They done forgot about you, bruh. Just say you're the bass player. They vibing out hard at whatever your gig was. They are having the time of their life, and you were gone. And ain't nobody crying. Not no more. They done got over it. They done moved on. And what did you leave? I'm saying what I'm saying because I want you to think about it. I want you to consider. I don't get on here to waste time on Tuesdays or whenever I get on here and talk to musicians. One of my passions that I know for a fact is being able to wake us up to what we're supposed to be doing. Wake us up as musicians to what we're supposed to be leaving. A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And as I said before, you cannot do that always concerning yourself with other people. And it's going to be hard for you to do that when you keep comparing yourself to other people. You're not them and they are not you. So it's just some little nuggets I wanted you guys to think about today. I could go on and on with this, but I'm not going to do that today. But I wanted you to be aware of these different things. And I think you got the point. So as you're moving, as you're doing all these different things, consider what I said today and get it done. Get at it. Like, understand that tomorrow isn't promised. It's not promised. So whatever that idea you have, you got a window of time to get it done. And it might not be as long as you think. I mean, that don't mean you're going to necessarily die. But if somebody beat you to the, somebody beat you to the goal with this thing that you're trying to do, it's going to be kind of lame for you to be doing the same thing after somebody else has already done it. Right? You might can do a variation of it. But if they done the very specific, almost down to the detail thing that you're trying to do. Now, let me back up, because I said something last week and I don't want to contradict myself. I said we all have our own unique fingerprint and nobody can steal your idea. That was last week. The Don't Kill Yourself was the week before last. But nobody stole your idea. So with that being said, I don't want to contradict myself. They can't necessarily take the thing that's unique to you. And you can go back and watch that video. I'm not going to go into all of that. But at the same time, if you're doing something that is like it's already been done at this point because you waited too late to make a move, yeah, you're going to have to tweak it. You're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to do something a little different. If your idea is almost verbatim to somebody else's, like, you better have something better that you can offer. Because it still can be done, but you make sure it's not the same thing, all I'm saying. Because your original idea that you had, if you were to go with it first, here's why I say this. There have been many things that I've done over the years. I just took off and I done it like blindly. I had no idea what I was doing or how to do it. And I'm just a dude. Like, I get it done. I get results. That's what I do. I have to. Like, that's the way I'm wired. I'm very results driven. So I'll sometimes go after stuff and I don't fully know what it is I'm doing, but as I'm getting in there, like, I'll figure it out. I figure out what I'm doing. And so with a lot of people, they are more of, let me read the entire manual before I start, and, to each his own. But for me, that don't work, because I learned this in college. And I think this is what kind of really started kind of refocusing how I go about doing things, even with being results driven. And you're trying to read the whole manual before you get started. By the time you get through reading the manual, some of the information is obsolete by the time you start. Case in point. So I went to school. I got a bachelor's degree somewhere around here. I went to the University of North Alabama, and I learned about, no shade to the school, but I learned about, commercial music, and I learned about the whole music recording industry and getting into recording and, how to work in the industry, all these different things. And so by the time I graduated and I came down and started doing my internship and working in Atlanta as a professional musician, especially in the studio world, I found out that a lot of the stuff that I had learned in those books, it didn't apply. And maybe in some places, maybe in Nashville, maybe in some other places in the world, the stuff that they talked about applied, maybe. But when I got into the real world and I'm in this world that I've been reading and studying about, half of the stuff that I learned in school was like, yeah, that's nice. We ain't doing that though. Yeah, that's great. Oh, good job. You learned that. Oh, that's awesome. We don't do that. We don't do anything like that here. So it was very discouraging, but it taught me something. It taught me, like, you better take action quickly, because you're going to learn more doing. Like, it's something to be said about studying and showing yourself approved, knowing what it is that you're doing, but it's something else when you're putting your hands on it, right? I would say study while you're doing it. Study, keep refining, keep trying to, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to refine it, like, as you're doing it more and more, right? You're trying to refine it. Anyway, I'm gonna shut this down. Because I can go with this. But guys, I really appreciate you hanging out with me today, and I hope that you have gotten something helpful. Now, if you ain't getting nothing helpful, it wasn't because it wasn't shared. I'll say that. But I hope you take away something helpful from this video. And if you found something helpful in this video, be sure to like it. Be sure to share it. I see a few thumbs up. Be sure to throw them thumbs on up for me. And again, share this video if you found something helpful in it. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm J Morgan Bass, at J Morgan Bass on Instagram. And yeah, all that good stuff. He said, don't tell too much, let him read the book. There it is, Stephen. Oh yeah, good call, Stephen. Brought to you by Jermaine Morgan. 10 Ways to Success to Working Musician. I have a book where I talk about a lot of this different stuff that I share here on the live. If you want to get this book, there is an PDF version available. It's available on Amazon. It's available on my website, jermainemorgan.net. Just simply go to the shop tab. If you want a signed copy of this book, there is an audio version, audible version available of this book as well. So if you ain't got time, you can listen to it as you're driving back and forth to work and all those different things. So I encourage you to grab that book if you haven't already done it. 10 Ways to Success. It's a tongue twister. If you want to learn any more of these concepts and these principles that I'm sharing. Good call, Steven. Steven said, you tell him too much, let him read the book. Right. So y'all pick up that book if you can. And anyway, I've enjoyed this, man. I always enjoy sharing with you all. And if I don't see you, if you don't see me no more for the rest of this year, Happy New Year to you all. Happy 2023. I hope and pray that all of you guys who join in will see the new year as well. I hope I get to see it. And I will catch you guys then. And remember, stop comparing yourself to other folks and now go get it done. All right, y'all. Much love. I'm out. Peace.